Okay, welcome to part 5 of our development setup series covering what developers need to know to get up and running to be working with Gunner technology. So we've covered some basic setup and installing and configuring Ruby using RVM. And now we're going to get really ambitious and try to cover the entire LAMP installation and configuration in one less than 5-minute screencast. So as you know, we set up Ruby, so obviously we do a lot of Ruby and Ruby on Rails projects. The other thing we do a lot of projects with is PHP, mainly WordPress type sites and CMS installations. So let's get started with that and how we set up the LAMP stack for that. So the first thing we're going to do is install MySQL. And this is Gunner Technologies development wiki, and so here are the steps right here. We've already installed Mac ports, so we can basically just copy this right here, and we're going to paste this in the terminal. Clear the terminal window. And you're going to see a bunch of output as it downloads. And it should run, we're basically telling it to run 4 commands, and it'll only ask for the password after the first command. It's going to run the first 3 automatically, then the last one you're going to have to enter because we pasted it in. So I'm going to pause this as this finishes so we have enough time to get the entire screencast in. Okay, welcome back. So that took about 30 minutes. And one change to that is we couldn't actually run all 4 at once. It only ran this first one, and then I had to run this second command manually, which is just a matter of copying and pasting that into the command prompt or the terminal session as well. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run this command, and it's going to start the process. It says the process already exists. We're going to open a new terminal tab with Command T, and then we're going to run the second one. And so we're going to leave password blank. We're not going to enter a password for root, so we're just going to hit enter. And it's asking us again, do we want to set a root password? We're going to say no. So it says by default, MySQL installation has an anonymous user allowing anyone to log into MySQL without having to have a user account created for them. It's intended only for testing. So we can leave this go on here because this is a development server. So we'll say no. We don't want to remove the anonymous user. And we're going to say no to this as well. And we're going to say no to that again. And then we're going to say yes to this. And that's it. So MySQL is set up, and we'll move on to Apache. And just real quick before we get to Apache, this is in the developer docs. This is just the commands for restarting, stopping, and starting MySQL. So now installing Apache, and we're going to run each of these commands one at a time from terminal. And again, to save some time as this updates, I'm going to pause the screencast. Okay, so that took about 45 minutes, but it went off without a hitch. Got a lot of message output. And now we just need to go through and configure a couple things to get Apache running the way we need it to run. So those steps are outlined right here. So we're just going to copy this line right here, and we're going to run this command. Paste it in here. And again, sometimes you may not need that. Sometimes the sample's already there. So again, it says no such file or directory. That's fine. It's not always necessary. So moving on to the next line, we're going to change directories into the Apache modules directory, and we're going to run this command. So it activated that module, and then we're going to open the configuration file. And so these next couple steps, this one is not necessary because we don't need to, we're going to be running virtual hosts, so we don't really need to worry about the directory so much. But it looks like I'm running out of time, so we're going to have to cover that in the next segment. So we'll look at configuring Apache in the next screencast.